What's happening, beautiful people, and welcome back to another live stream right here on Cassius Morris Official. Real quick, if you guys have been enjoying the streams I'm bringing to you every single day, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and welcome to all the new subscribers who've joined the movement recently. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, so I can't wait to hit that milestone. We're going to get that YouTube plaque in the next month or so shout out to everybody who's joining. And also, if you like the streams, make sure to hit the membership button down below. Click join, and every single month, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can show some support to an independent streamer. So guys, strap in, because this one tonight, I have a feeling, is going to be absolutely insane. Donald Trump calling for Don Lemon to be jailed for his involvement in the ICE protest, which just happened at a church. Now, we have all the details here on this story to go ahead and cover to get you guys up to date. So let me tell you guys exactly what happened with Don Lemon before we go any further, because this actually popped off while I was on stream last night, and there were so many layers to it that I figured I had to jump on and do an individual stream all about this story. So here's what happened, just to get everybody up to date if you missed this situation that happened yesterday. So yesterday, during the day in America, anti-ICE protesters entered and disrupted a church service in Minnesota during worship. This was right in the middle of the actual service itself. The protesters did this because they believed that the pastor had ties to ICE or supported immigration enforcement, which they argues violates the idea of church as sanctuary spaces. Now, Don Lemon was present covering the protests and live streaming and interviewing participants, and critics are arguing that he blurred the line between reporting on the situation and actually participating in it. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to play all of the footage from the actual protest, which Don Lemon broadcasted live. We're going to take a look at his role in this situation, analyze it, and break it down. We're also going to look at Don Lemon's response to this and the celebrity backlash which has happened, not only from the president, but also Nicki Minaj and many other prominent voices voicing their dissent against Don Lemon. He's had a lot of backlash, and he's doubling down, tripling down, seemingly not afraid of being locked up and going to jail. So let's go ahead and run this video now. Again, smash that like, smash that sub. And we're going to be the judge of this. You know, when they say I'll be the judge of that, that's going to be you guys tonight. So let's play this footage now. Don Lemon at the protest at the church in Minneapolis.
Surrounded the church on the inside. They have found out that one of the pastors at
So they had bad connection here, but it's going to clear up in a second.
Oh no!
Right in the middle of a church service, this happens.
This ain't God's house, it's the house of the devil.
Excuse me, sir. Can I get right here? Thank you. I'm sorry. So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. In the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nikema stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull-Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE, and so here we go.
You could talk to the lead pastor.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
Okay. Calm him down. And it's kind of loud, so I can't hear him. But they're still there, and then, pardon me, sir, sorry.
So now he tries to interview some people in the church.
What do you think of this? I thought you said no.
What I'll tell you is that there are varying arrays of views on the political situation here. That's what I'll tell you.
What do you mean by that?
I'm going to leave it at that. But there's varying array of views in this church on politics of immigration. Right. Recognize the complexity of the issue.
Yeah. Some people don't like what's happening. Some people like it.
I'm not going to reduce it to that. I won't reduce it that simply, but we acknowledge the complexity of the situation.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you talking. So I'm just going to be as respectful as possible. I'm not here to intimidate anybody. Just here to chronicle and to get some answers and let people know what they've done. They've pumped the music up really, really loud. Here you heard the pastor. Some folks are praying back there. Do you see the guy with his arms stretched up? Just trying to calm him down over there. And yeah.
So we're going to skip to the part where he actually talks to the pastor. There's a lot of BS that happens leading up to it. Let's see what people actually had to say to Lemon when he approached them.
Talk to you. We're all citizens. We're all believers and Christians. What do we do? Or if I don't know if everybody is, but everybody's a human being. Let's work together and talk about these things. The pastor, there's one of the members who looks to be really upset, a young person. The pastor's trying to calm him down over there. And yeah. So there you go. You're a member of the church?
What's that?
You're a member of the church?
I do.
How do you feel about this?
I don't necessarily agree with everything that's going on in the Twin Cities right now, but I don't think it's good to fight fire with fire. I think it's good to speak up. I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way. I don't think the answer is going into God's church.
You don't think this is peaceful?
Bro, what about what we're seeing is peaceful right now? See, this is when Don Lemon gets on my nerves when he starts spewing crap. You're walking into a church, screaming and shouting in the middle of a church service, completely disrupting everything they're doing. Yes, it's a public place, but you're not supposed to be there conducting yourself in this manner. Now, sure, they're not throwing punches. They're not running in and destroying the place. But there's nothing peaceful about walking into a house of worship and screaming and shouting.
Nobody fighting.
It's trespassing. How would you feel if I went to your house and I started yelling?
It depends on what I did, but not in my house. That's a whole different thing. I think these people would go inside of anybody's house.
This is the house of God.
Which makes it everybody's house.
Yes, it is. But in a house, people don't yell at each other.
Yeah, but there's a lot of yelling in my house growing up. We still loved each other.
Yeah, but...
Come on, Don. See, I think Don's rage baiting, though, because look at the smile on his face. He does not believe the shit that's coming out of his mouth right now.
That doesn't necessarily mean that yelling is the answer, right?
I'm sorry?
That doesn't necessarily mean yelling is the answer, right?
No, but I think that's the way you work things out is that you talk to each other, you disagree. Sometimes it's heated, sometimes it's not. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And I think maybe if the pastor would try to calm things down and say, let's all talk together and make this peaceful and not be so us against them.
I think that's good to talk, but then why don't we do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think trespassing, I think protesting on the streets is fine, but I think there's a difference between that and then going into someone's property and then yelling.
How do you feel about allegedly, according to the protesters here, there's a member of ICE who is a pastor here or is a member of the clergy?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
A member of the clergy or a pastor here works with ICE, and that's why they're upset.
I didn't know that.
Allegedly, I don't know. That's what they say.
Okay, well, I would say before just ramming into a church, maybe it'd be good to get some more information first.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, by the way, in the chat? If this pastor was involved with ICE, do you think this is fair game to break in, or do you think it's still wrong?
You said talking is the answer, right?
Yeah.
Well, then maybe instead of making assumptions, it'd be good to ask the person first before making that assumption, then going into their church.
Yeah. I don't know if they tried to talk to anyone. Would you be okay with your pastor talking to them?
I think conversations will be great. I think we need more communication.
I like this dude, by the way. This guy's super level-headed. So we're going to find the clip where he speaks to the actual pastor. Because, guys, this is a 6.5-hour live stream. So this is a long video, which we're skipping through to find the actual highlights. So let's actually go to X, because X is usually better. So here's what the pastor had to say to Don Lemon.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why we're here.
Okay.
That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay.
Oh, Don Lemon, what a good Christian. What a good Christian you are. Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, he was there for 6.5 hours. In shock, yes, he was there for 6.5 hours, guys. So this was a long protest. I'm seeing in the chat that it's wrong. It's wrong that he was there. So, look, ultimately, I think the church itself did a really good job of responding to this. When you take a look at the people who are actually speaking to Don Lemon, very level-headed, very reasonable when it comes to their statements. There was one more interview I wanted to roll really quick before we look at the backlash, of course, from Trump, from different celebrities, which there was a lot, to which actually Don Lemon may be held accountable and potentially facing legal trouble. But let's look at this interview with this guy. This dude, I think, was bang on, and I think he's one of the higher up members of the church as well.
These people have come into our house, and they've interrupted our worship. This is a house of peace, and we try to proclaim that. And this stirs division and rancor. And in the end, it's not helpful. Ultimately, I believe they've lost. They've emptied a house of worship. Everybody's gone home. Their point has been proven worthless. And so, in the end, I think they lose. But more importantly, if I was to break into any of their houses uninvited, cause derision and upset according to their values, I would be kicked out ultimately. It's not a good way. I feel violated. I feel interrupted. I feel angry.
May I ask you something? When you were saying if you had showed up at their house, they're saying that people are showing up at houses where they're citizens
Yes.
or without due process
Yes.
and breaking and entering the house.
Yes.
One that we saw, I've been watching from New York, with a battering ram into someone's private property, and
Yes.
there's no recourse.
Yes.
There's no, you understand what I'm saying?
This is all part of a much larger dialogue, in my opinion. On one side are people who watched a previous administration bring 12 million people in over the course of 4 years, and many of them undocumented, many of them criminals.
Man, if I had my family in this church, I'd feel super unsafe. Like, imagine going to church with your kids and people are doing this.
Etc. This is another administration's corrective. Now, whether you agree with the policies or procedures, I think I could actually be sympathetic to some of the things where there have been challenges to fashion and decency. At the same time, these are what are called targeted interventions by ICE to keep the American people safe.
If I respectfully may interject here, I've been out reporting on a lot of these, and they're not targeted. There are no warrants signed by a judge, let me finish. And they're American citizens, many of them. Most of the people that they detain don't have criminal convictions or criminal records.
I'm not going to get into the weeds.
But you should know that, though. Don't you think that's part of it?
Yes, and I could also show you many opposing sides where we're
By the way,
also...
wasn't he asked to leave the church by the pastor? Why is this dude still in the church doing interviews? Look, if you're asked to leave a building, from my understanding, if you refuse to leave, that's called trespassing. So leading up to this point, look, I've been watching the whole video, and I think it's really important that we play the full video so that we get the full context of this, because most people who are going to comment on this will not have sat and watched the full video and watched the full context. Leading up to this point, I was kind of like, okay, Don Lemon's not doing too much wrong. Look, I'm not a fan of Don Lemon, but I don't think he was too bad leading up to this point. Now he's starting to cross the line. He's been asked to leave the building. He continues to disrupt. He continues to try to push his point in a place where he's not wanted.
Picking up the very criminals that have put Americans in danger and I'm not saying it's pretty. I'm not saying it's not messy. I'm not saying it couldn't be better. I'm saying this is a part of a much larger dialogue in which one administration caused a great deal of chaos and havoc and danger for American citizens, and another is trying to correct that.
Do you believe that? Why honestly,
Okay.
let me talk you
Listen,
just on the
you're not
facts.
a journalist.
Yes, I am. I want to give you the facts.
No.
Did you know that undocumented people and immigrants commit far less crime than
Whoa, you're getting a little close there, Dawn. See, this is borderline harassment now. You're chasing the guy out the door, putting your hand on him?
Danger for American citizens, and another is trying to correct that.
Do you believe that? Why honestly,
Okay.
let me talk you
Listen,
just on the
you're not
facts.
a journalist.
Yes, I am. I want to give you the facts.
No.
Did you know that undocumented people and immigrants commit far less crime than
Now
American
he's crossing the line now.
citizens?
We're done here. We're done here.
Than natural-born Americans? You won't listen.
If you could ask
I'm
an
giving you the
objective
facts.
question
It
and not
is.
give me facts, I would have a conversation.
But I can respond to you.
No, we're done.
But you're not.
Did Jesus stand with the oppressed?
Because he doesn't want to listen to facts.
So there you have it, guys. The official video of Don Lemon at the protest inciting trouble inside of a church. Now, I want to ask everybody who's just joining the chat now, what do you think of Don Lemon's actions? Do you think he was within his rights and simply reporting on a protest? Or was he in there trying to incite something and stir things up? I'm going to give you guys my full reaction in just a moment, but first let's take a look at some of the reactions from prominent figures such as the President of the United States. So Donald Trump took to Truth Social last night, sharing a post from an account on X called @MoniFunGirl, co-signing the fact that Don Lemon should go to prison for up to 40 years. This is what the statement said that Trump reposted. It said, quote, "A small group of elderly ladies were protesting at an abortion clinic and were given 40 years in prison for violating the FACE Act. I would like to see the same kind of sentence for Don Lemon and the people that broke into that church and did that during services." So Donald Trump co-signing the fact that, look, we want to see Don Lemon go to jail for 40 years. And there is an actual amendment, I believe it's called the KKK Act or one of the, we're going to pull up the actual information here now. There is legal process that could actually put Don Lemon behind bars for this. Let's take a listen to the details.
We will pursue charges in this case. I see various crimes that have occurred. Exactly what they are, I'm not going to flag, but the FACE Act has been mentioned as one of the predicates there. In other cases, the Biden DOJ used the Klan Act conspiracy charges.
The Klan Act, that's what it's called. So it's a federal rights statute. Let's take a listen.
Tacked on to the FACE Act in the case of protests outside abortion clinics to bring much longer sentences. So there are a number of tools available to us. Who funded this? What else? What other crimes may have occurred? Was there a use of the wires or the mails in preparing for this event? Did anyone cross state lines to do this? All of those are potential predicates for additional federal charges.
Armin, I've just pulled up the Klan Act because this is the first time that I've heard this mentioned. This is a act that was passed in 1871, correction there, to combat the Ku Klux Klan and protect African Americans' voting rights, especially the Enforcement Act, which is known as the Force Act. So here's some of the information on screen. Would you mind breaking down for us, because we have just read the FACE Act and how this is an affinity to the FACE Act.
Shout out to the chat, by the way. Citra, Starsky, Plasia, Indiana, I see you guys. Robs, I see all you guys, man. Shout out to you. Let's listen.
An obvious and egregious demonstrable violation of the FACE Act because they were entering a place of worship, harassing and threatening. We just played a video of a man, a bearded man, who was threatening to attack the Christians that were worshiping there. So it seems like an obvious FACE Act violation. But the Klan Act here, it is on screen. First time I've heard it mentioned. Can you unpack this for us, Harmeet?
Yeah, the Klan Act is one of the most important federal civil rights statutes, and it goes back to the time when President Lincoln emancipated the slaves, and yet the southern states, Dixiecrats mainly, were refusing to give them equal rights. And in fact, that you had sheriffs and you had law enforcement harassing the newly freed slaves. So the Klan Act is a law that makes it illegal to terrorize citizens, to violate their civil rights, to get together and conspire to violate the civil rights. It is often used against law enforcement, but is now used against others as well. So whenever anyone conspires to violate the protected civil rights of American citizens. The Klan Act can be used to bring a conspiracy charge. We, in the federal law enforcement parlance, call this 241 and 242 civil and criminal conspiracies. And so what the Biden administration did is, if three grandmas got together to pray outside an abortion clinic for the souls of the people inside, and including the unborn children, they would say, oh, that's not just a violation of the Klan Act, that's a conspiracy to violate the civil rights of women going in there to get abortions. And
so a little bit of information about the actual provision that could put Don Lemon behind bars for his role in the protests at the Minnesota church. So guys, we've watched the video. We've looked at the reaction from President Trump and a few others. Here's my thoughts on the video clips that we actually watched. So like I said in the beginning, I was going to take it easy on Don Lemon, and I want to make this really clear. For anybody who's watched my channel for the last couple of years, you will know I strongly dislike Don Lemon. As a reporter myself and a journalist myself for the past 17, almost 18 years, I think he's a terrible reporter. He truly is a terrible reporter. I've never liked a single thing he's had to say on the air, and I think most of what he does is spew crap and instigate. However, the only reason I'm confused as to why this is all falling on him is Don Lemon did not actually orchestrate this protest. Don Lemon showed up to this protest, as he has with many other protests. He's been covering a lot of the stuff happening with ICE in different states all across the USA. So to me, the initial act of Don Lemon being there is not what the issue is, because this is freedom of the press. He was going down to an event. It's a public protest. He has the First Amendment, and he's able to go ahead and have his freedom of speech and cover whatever he wants. The reason that it starts to rub me the wrong way, though, is that he overstays his welcome. He's pushing, he's sort of putting his hands on people. He wasn't being physically aggressive to people, but he's getting in people's space. He's putting his hands on people. He's chasing people out the door. He's doing this in a place where he has been asked to leave. And on top of that, this is a house of worship. This is a church. Now, the other aspect, too, is the people who are protesting didn't even have their facts straight. They're saying, well, we think somebody in this church might belong to ICE. We don't actually know, but we're just going to run in and destroy the church service anyway. So needless to say, this wasn't a good thing for them to do. It was a bad thing for them to go in and disrupt this service. But going to jail for it, I think it's a little extreme, because Don Lemon didn't exactly organize this protest. And when we listen to the actual details of the act, the Klan Act from 1871, and it's good that they actually compared it to the abortion situation, because these people who were arrested at the abortion clinics, they did conspire to go and do this, and this was their thing that they put together to go and crash it, to go and disrupt. So the idea that the same law could be used against Don Lemon doesn't exactly make sense to me, because he did not actually conspire to put this protest together. He was simply going to attend the protest to cover it. So again, what do you guys think in the chat? I'm taking a look at some of the comments. Mary says he joined it. He liked it. Okay. I agree. He joined it and liked it. They should all go to jail, says Richard. Listen, that's a valid opinion. Guys, there's no wrong answer. The idea of my chat is not for us all to have the same opinion. This is just a conversation. I want to see what you guys have to say. So there's no wrong answer. Nobody Nope says go to jail, Don. He was part of the protest. Yes, he was absolutely part of the protest, guys. But you have to remember, the act in which he would be charged under is not for being part of a protest. It's for conspiring to create a protest. So there's a big difference here. Clowning says it's a violation of the FACE Act 2 and trespassing. Don knew that what was happening and still entered the church and harassed the pastor. Maxwell says he should be jailed. Yeah, so look, it seems like a lot of people do think he should be jailed. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying that this is a positive thing that he did. I think the whole protest was wrong. I think storming into a church service with families and kids and people who are just trying to have a little reprieve from everything that's going on, if you're not able to have a safe space in church, I think it's very telling about where the country's going. It's a very, very telling picture as to what's happening in America. because you can't even, we talked about it last night with Bruce Springsteen going on a rant at his concert. You can't even go to a concert now without being, bombarded with politics. You can't go to a sports game without being bombarded with politics. And now you can't even go pray. You can't even go to church without being attacked with political ideology. So I don't think this is a good thing at all. I am not on Don Lemon's side. I'm simply trying to play devil's advocate to a degree, because where does freedom of the press come in? If you're not allowed to cover a protest, how does freedom of the press actually exist? When you're not inciting the protest in the sense that you're creating it. Yes, he made it worse, but this wasn't his idea. So that's the question. How do we balance freedom of the press with this act? That's what I'm curious about. MC says, I think it was unnecessary on Don's part, but not an offense worth jail time. I agree. Listen, I think he was an asshole. I think it was completely inappropriate. I think he was acting like a jackass. But 40 years in prison, it's a little bit over the top. Now, in other reactions to this, Nicki Minaj decided to take to Twitter, or I guess X. Damn, I sound like an unk. Calling it Twitter that's unk status right there, bro. I'm going to reach a time where I say that and people won't even know what I mean. But Nicki Minaj, who for some reason feels the need to insert herself in political conversation now out of nowhere. I don't know where this Nicki Minaj Republican arc came from. I don't know when she became MAGA. She certainly started too late, because she let the Trump train kind of go. I think if she would have started like in 2024, it would have made more sense. Nonetheless, she inserted herself yet again in a political conversation using slurs against Don Lemon. She goes, and I need to chill, because I told you guys I've been getting age restricted and stuff by YouTube, so I need to watch my language. I've been doing like a Rumble style uncensored show on YouTube, which is going to get my channel taken down. So Nikki says Don blank sucking Lemon is disgusting. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up. That's what Nicki Minaj says. So let's look at Don Lemon's response to Nicki. And I have to say, guys, again, I'm not a hater, but if there's one person I would be a hater towards, it would probably be Don Lemon. However, this response, he kind of ate her up. I'm not going to lie. He kind of ate her up. You guys be the judge.
Asking me about responding to Nicki Minaj's unhinged, homophobic tweet about me. I usually don't respond to this stuff, but let me just say this. Nicki Minaj, stop talking about shit for which you know nothing about. This is out of your depth, by the way, and you are a homophobic bigot. You don't care about African Americans. You're not an African American. From what I know, you are reportedly an undocumented citizen, so you should be deported under Donald Trump's rules. And the other thing is that your family members, you have one family member who is reportedly a sex offender, the other family member, your husband or whatever, a sex offender is your husband, and one of them is reportedly a pedophile. And you have nerve to talk about me and what you think that I do? Nicki Minaj, get a life. Stop being a pick-me. You should have put a pick-me doll on that damn tweet instead of a Chucky doll, because you are nothing but a pick-me. And I choose not to pick you. And so should black people, and so should gay people. Shouldn't buy your music. Clock that.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. He ate her ass up, bro. And I can't stand Don Lemon, but he ate her ass up. And it's true. Look, you look at Nicki Minaj. The funniest thing about her inserting herself in this whole conversation about ICE and politics and supporting Trump is the fact that she's not actually a U.S. citizen. And it's true. Under Trump's rule, she would actually qualify to be deported. Now, people actually did make a petition for this after Nikki's appearance at Turning Point USA. And all of the petitions, this is just one of them, but between all of the petitions, they've received over 150,000 votes and signatures to deport Nicki Minaj along with all of the rest of the ICE people. So look, I think that this is sort of comedy when you look at this situation with Nicki. And Yeah, Lemon makes a lot of good points because she is kind of coming across as a pick-me. I'm not going to lie. And it feels like she's sort of taken a page out of other people's books who've become successful with turning Republican. You know, turning Republican publicly or going MAGA in the last couple of years has actually been a net positive for a lot of people's careers. You know, when Trump was about to win in 24, we saw a weird cultural shift where all of a sudden he became a lot more accepted. And it seemed like everybody in pop culture, for the most part, was sort of leaning towards Trump. It was this weird moment, and I don't know if you guys really observed this too, a month or two before he won the presidency. It really felt like a lot more people than ever before were warming up to Trump and starting to go over to that side, and this celebrity jumped in and that celebrity jumped in. And it was good for their careers. So I think Nikki is looking at that and trying to do the same thing because, let's be honest, her career is sort of in a lull right now. The only thing is she's too late. See, when you jump on the Trump train or any sort of train like this too late and say, hey, I'm part of it now, this is what I've always believed, people aren't going to believe you. So I think, yeah, Nikki needs to shut up and her pedophile husband needs to be dealt with and she should probably be deported. So chat, what do you guys think? Should Don Lemon go to jail or not? I mean, we have one more clip to play. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that he should go to jail. And I do think that this is tricky territory. When you're messing with a house of worship, when you're trespassing in a church, when you're infringing on people's civil rights, when you're infringing on people's right of worship, and again, the reprieve, having a little bit of time to just go and pray. I think that's terribly wrong. I saw another person too in the chat say he definitely wouldn't have done that in a mosque. 1,000%. The one comment that Nikki made, which is true, is he would have never done this to another religion. He would have got his fucking head cut off if he did this at a mosque. So at the end of the day, I don't believe that he's a Christian. That was the funniest part to me. He's in the church saying he's a Christian. There's no fucking chance in hell you're a Christian if you're barging into a church screaming. So Lemon decided to make an appearance on TMZ Live, and he doubled down on this. He doubled down. Let's take a listen to what Lemon had to tell the guys over at TMZ Live. If you guys are liking the stream, make sure to smash that like and subscribe. Bringing you all the information live and direct.
What do you say to the offense, the criminal offense of committing journalism?
Oh, shut up, Harvey, shut up. You're so full of shit, dude. Nobody wants Don Lemon in jail for doing journalism. They want him in jail for trespassing in a church and affecting people's right to worship. See, if you're going to characterize it like he's going to be arrested for journalism, you're full of shit. That's so stupid.
What do you say to the offense, the criminal offense of committing journalism?
Stupid.
I'm not really quite sure what to say about that. I think that if this woman and the DOJ or Trump or Pam Bondi, if they think that they're going to somehow make activists and protesters in Minneapolis afraid, then I think they've got another thing coming. I think these people are really pissed off at what's happening in the country, and I think that this is right now we're at this an inflection point.
By the way, look at that smirk too. This dude is really happy that he's got some clout. I feel like this dude is super happy to have some content. After the fall off from CNN, he's like, yo, I'm famous again.
And I think that this is right now we're at this an inflection point, and I think this is going to motivate people to protest even more. They should be trying to listen to the protesters, which is one of the questions I asked the pastor. Now, as far as it relates to me, I had, it doesn't matter if I had an idea or didn't have an idea of what was going on in the church. I'm a journalist. I was there to report and to show and to chronicle what's going on and to memorialize it. And that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly what we do in every situation and over historic moments since America's inception. That's what journalists do. It's the First Amendment. We're protected in the First Amendment. So I have no idea what they're talking about. And I don't believe this woman has any idea what she's talking about as well.
Well, it sounds like, Don, they are tying you to saying that you weren't just a journalist. It almost sounds like they're accusing you, or they think that you might have been involved in the planning of this, that you were somehow part of the protest. I didn't see that at all in the video, but that sounds what the road that they're going.
Are these guys serious right now? Chat, we just watched the entire video. Anybody who watched that video can tell you Don Lemon was actively involved in the protest. He was literally trying to have political debates with pastors in the middle of a church service. How are you going to sit here and say he wasn't involved?
Going down.
I think it sounds like what they would like people to think. I have no planning. I did no planning. There's no evidence of any planning. Again, I was there covering, well, not again, because I didn't tell you this, but I was there covering the protesters. I flew into Minneapolis that morning. They were holding an event, and I said, well, why don't I just go with you guys to see what you're doing today? And they said, fine, come with us. And I chronicle it throughout my show live on YouTube and on Substack and Twitch. It's live. It's all there.
Bro's got to get the plug in there.
I had no idea of the planning. I didn't even know where we were going. Not that that even matters. Again, I'm a journalist. That's what I was doing. I talked to the people at the church. I talked to the pastor. I talked to the congregants. I talked to the protesters. And that's it. And then I left. And when I left, there were police officers outside. And if they thought there was any, civil disobedience that had gone out of control, I think they would have come in and started, trying to remove people or ask them to leave or arresting people. None of that happened. It was very peaceful. There was, nobody was physically threatened. And,
What do you mean it was peaceful? Guys, just listen to the audio. Let's just play 2 seconds of the audio. Does this look like a peaceful scene to you guys? Last time I checked, this is not my definition of peaceful. If I was going to have let's say I was going to the beach to have a peaceful beach day, and there's people screaming like this, that's not a peaceful day.
Once once the disturbance was created, then I looked at it as an opportunity to do news, to report on it. And what if I hadn't been there chronicling it? Nobody would have known about it. But also, I wasn't the only journalist there, so I'm not quite sure how I became the face in the headline.
Well, hey, congratulations, you are. So I want to get your reaction to my take on this. I mean, I have been in news for 47 years. I've done newspapers, I've done radio, I've done local news, TMZ, other things. You did journalism. I mean, I watched it yesterday. It's pure journalism.
No, it commits journalism.
Yeah, you committed pure journalism yesterday. It's clear. So when you hear the Deputy Attorney General...
These guys are so biased, it's sickening. It's like I don't even think they watched the actual video, or maybe they watched a different video than the one I saw.
Saying this, it's silly, it's wacky, it's dumb. I mean, look, people can have opinions about it.
It's an intimidation tactic.
But that's where I'm going. That none of that would ever stand up in court, because there's clearly a First Amendment right to do what you did. So none of it's going to stand up in court. She knows it. I mean, she passed the bar exam. She knows it. If this is done for intimidation, I'm not so sure that doesn't have some impact on people thinking, yeah, it's great, but then I have to hire a lawyer. I'm going to have to pay a lot of money to win. And then where am I at the end? So if this really is an intimidation, and that's what they're doing, everybody kind of passes it off. But that's a real thing in this country.
What do you guys think? Is Don Lemon going to go to jail, yes or no? Drop a yes or no in the chat.
I think a lot of people, yes, it is a real thing. But on this Dr. King Day, this is mobilizing a lot of people.
Oh, he had to play the victim card. On Dr. King Day.
This is mobilizing a lot of people. When I hosted a breakfast for Dr. King today for the Rainbow Push Coalition, Reverend Jesse Jackson's organization. And people are really mobilized, and obviously people at this event had heard about it, and the attorneys for the Bar Association in Chicago and on it, civil rights attorneys are saying, bring it on, because this is what the civil rights movement was about. Don, they said, what if no one had chronicled the civil rights movement? This is akin to people going into to diners and department stores with lunch counters and sitting in. This was an act
of... that's what this is. See, this is what it is. See, Don sees himself as some sort of modern day, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. That's really where this is coming from. He wants to be, he thinks he's one of those guys.
To diners and department stores with lunch counters and sitting in. This was an act of civil disobedience. But they said none of that has anything to do with you. You're a journalist. And we look to our journalists. There's a special place carved out in the Constitution for journalists. We look to our journalists to be able to record this stuff so that people have an idea of what is happening in the now and also in history. So, you know, I think this is just this is gonna backfire on them. They're gonna mobilize more people to fight against these strong arm ICE and federal agent tactics that's happening on the streets, where they're not following due process nor the Constitution. I think that they are alerting a lot of people who may have sort of been apathetic about it, you know, in the past. Now they're going to become more aware of it. So let them do it. Bring it on.
You know,
so that's the Don. That's the big picture. Smaller picture. Nicki Minaj and her response to all of this.
Yeah, Nicki cooked herself, by the way, by involving herself in this, because every time she tries to get involved with politics, she just gets cooked. She should have learned from the last one. Look, when she came out at the Turning Point USA event, the reaction was pretty bad. I mean, yeah, a lot of hardcore Republicans liked it because, of course, they're going to like a celebrity co-signing their movement. But when we're talking about the general public, people who aren't deep in the MAGA movement, the reaction was quite bad. You would think that she would learn her lesson from what happened just a couple of weeks ago, but no, she inserts herself again into another political thing and gets cooked again.
Language that's used. I think it's interesting just because Nicki has been, over the last couple of months, made it clear that she is now publicly supporting, and I think maybe she has all along, but now publicly making known her support for the Trump administration and even the MAGA movement. The choice of words that she used to go after you, I'm not surprised she went after you.
Homophobic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think you have to black it out. You should show it to people. She called me Don, you know, sea sucker lemon is disgusting. Look, this is what
Is that going to be his new nickname, by the way?
Say to Nicki Minaj. I normally don't respond to things like this, but, you know, F it. I'm going to do it this time. I think Nicki Minaj has made it very clear how she feels about African Americans in this country. I don't think she's one of them, obviously. And she should, under Trump's rules, she should be deported, because I don't think, reportedly, that she is a legal citizen here. She is undocumented. And so she has shown her disdain for African Americans. So why are you supporting her? Why are you buying her records? She's also supporting, I have lots of gay friends who love Nicki Minaj. Why are you supporting this homophobic, bigoted, ignorant woman? You should not be supporting her. Nicki Minaj, this is clearly out of her depth. She doesn't understand politics. She doesn't understand journalism. And I'm not surprised that she is weighing in on something that is beyond her capacity. What I will say to her is, because she put a doll, I think she put the Chucky doll in there, a better symbol that should have been represented in that picture is a pick-me doll, because Nicki Minaj is a pick-me. She will do anything that is expedient for her politically. And again, she's ignorant. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's always weighing in on things that she doesn't know about. Nicki Minaj should just sit the fuck down. And by the way, isn't she married to an alleged pedophile? And she has the nerve to say something
yeah, he cooked her,
disparaging about and something homophobic. I'm pretty sure that maybe that's part of the reason that she is cozying up to the Trump administration for some sort of leniency for her family members. And it's just very transparent. So Nicki Minaj, F off, stop being a homophobic bigot, and you know, get a life and some brains.
Doesn't understand politics and journalism. Don, it sounds like you're describing yourself. I mean, you know, in order to call somebody out for not understanding journalism or politics, I think that maybe requires some understanding on your own part of those issues. Nonetheless, Nicki definitely made herself look like a fool. So there's all the recent clips, guys. Don Lemon potentially facing jail time over his involvement in the church protests. Now, my only question for you guys is this. Do you think, and I know I've asked it earlier, but what do you think is going to happen here? Honestly, what I think is, given the, you know, vendetta that Trump has right now against all people who've messed with him, this is not the time to be testing Donald Trump. So when you look at what you look at the things that Trump has actually gone through with, like the stuff in Venezuela, taking over a country, bringing a president back to America. Like, if they can arrest the president of Venezuela, why does Don Lemon think he's safe? So I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's ridiculous. He's not going to go to jail. Trump's just bluffing. From where I'm sitting, I don't think this is the era of the bluff for Donald Trump, because what we've seen from all of his recent actions is that he means business. Donald Trump is not here to play around. If he says something's going to happen, chances are it's going to happen. My only concern, and I think that it's not in this specific situation, but maybe a ripple effect. My only concern is what this means for freedom of the press, because increasingly what we're seeing is people who are speaking against the MAGA code of conduct, we'll call it, the MAGA policies, the MAGA movement. Those are the people who are being targeted a lot. So, yes, I think Don Lemon was wrong in this situation, but how often are we going to see people who are against MAGA constantly being singled out, threatening to take away their broadcast licenses, threatening to put them in jail? How is this going to lend to freedom of the press in the United States? Because to me, one of the best things about the United States, which makes it one of the greatest countries in the world, has been the fact that you've been able to have political freedom and freedom of speech to say what you want. Now, again, I want to make it very clear. I don't believe that's what Don Lemon did in this case. My personal opinion on what Don did is that he went into a church and harassed people. That's the way I see it. If you disagree, that's fine. My perspective is as such. So I don't think Don was within, the realm of what's appropriate in this situation. But in the back of my mind, I do wonder, how far are we going to go? Are you going to be able to do any kind of reporting on this or not? Or is it going to have to be pro-MAGA stuff all the time? That's what I'm curious about. He doesn't care about freedom unless it's his, says Andrew. That's a very good point. Let me see. All politics is theater, says Tim. I completely agree with that. He has no morals. He doesn't seem to have morals, Harvey. He doesn't seem to have morals. He seems to really care about nobody but himself. I haven't been a journalist for a long time. I've been a journalist for 17 years. Actually going on 18 now. So how long exactly should I do journalism before I become a professional? Should I do it for 40 years, 50? How many years do I need? I've been doing this since I was pissing the bed. So I think I have a pretty decent amount of experience. Let's look at one more clip of Don. This is a pretty telling clip of him speaking back in October. I don't even know what to say leading up to this clip. I think we just need to play this. This is a pretty good picture of his mind state, trying to say that illegal immigration is not a crime.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that actually...
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out, especially when he promised to deport the criminals? And now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going...
Misdemeanor is not a crime. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not a crime?
It's not a criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we
have
different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime.
He contradicts himself immediately. It's not a crime, but you'll get charged because there's different levels of crime.
He's not
That's Don Lemon logic for you.
Doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going...
Misdemeanor is not a crime. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not a crime?
It's not a criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we
different levels.
have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. You're not.
Yes, you should say crime because you're describing a crime, Don. Listen, if you agree with it, here's what we need to do. We need to start being honest. So look, just like Trump did, when Trump decided he wanted to invade Venezuela, he said, I don't give a fuck if it's legal or not. I'm going to do what I want to do. You don't like it, go fuck yourself. So if you support illegal immigration, just say so. At least then I can have some respect for it. If you just looked at me and you said, look, illegal immigration, yeah, it's a crime, but I don't care. I think they should be here anyway. I don't care if it's illegal. I would actually maybe respect you. But when you try to gaslight people and manipulate words and use manipulative language to try to push your agenda, that's when you lose me, because you're not being genuine. You're being disingenuous. Just say you don't care if it's illegal. Then I can maybe respect you.
It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
What?
No, you're not breaking.
What the fuck is that? What does that mean?
Breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
I'm sorry, come again?
It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
What is happening right now?
No, you're not breaking the law.
The misdemeanor is not breaking the law.
No.
If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a
DUI is not a criminal act.
Why?
That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Right.
So it's still breaking the law.
Okay, well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come over legally? Is there a law?
There are rules that processes that you should follow. Yeah, so you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
So what happens when you break the rules?
Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting.
He's so crazy. He's so crazy. It doesn't make any sense, the words coming out of his mouth. And you know what the craziest part is to me too? People will watch his show and they agree with it. I've had like family members, and you know, I don't begrudge them or disrespect them because they're older. Like I've had family members outside of Canada who've loved Don Lemon. And I've never understood the appeal because the guy doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. But people will listen to this rhetoric and they'll say, yes, it makes perfect sense. The guy's completely out of his goddamn mind. So the more that I look at from Don Lemon, honestly, bro, put the guy in jail. Who gives a shit? I'm at the point now, guys. Maybe I just, you know, if you put him in jail, I don't have to hear him talking anymore. So let me know what you guys think, man. I told you this stream was going to be a doozy. This is just the first story. We have some more stories coming. So again, guys, to everybody new here, I'm live every single day breaking down the biggest stories in the world. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and join the movement. Let's see what the chat's saying. Shout out to Rob, PD, Marcus in the chat, Paulie, Lorda, 6. I see all you guys, man. I'm reading all your comments, so keep joining the conversation. Word salad Donnie. Yeah, that's exactly. He sounds like Kamala Harris. That's pretty much what he sounds like at this point. No one can agree with Don, even if they don't agree with ICE. That's a phenomenal point. Phenomenal point from 6 in the chat. Yeah, even if you're anti-ICE, you should at least have a brain. All those protesters were disorderly conduct, pretty much. So yeah, guys, insane. So we're going to keep following this story. If any new developments happen tomorrow, we're going to take a look at it. Let's hop over to another story. So we've been covering this for the last 2 days. Red pill influencers Sneeko, Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, and many more took over a nightclub in Miami for what people are calling, and I can't use his name, because again, I don't want to get restricted on YouTube. So let's say for Austrian Painter Night. These guys went to the club in Miami, celebrating an Austrian painter who is prominent in history, and playing a song by Kanye West celebrating said Austrian painter. Now, the owners of the nightclub caught wind of this, and not only did they fire the DJ who played the song and ban Sneeko from that specific nightclub, as well as all the other red pill influencers, they actually have now banned Sneeko from every single nightclub and hospitality group in the United States of America. You cannot make this stuff up for playing the Kanye song HH. Let's take a listen to this right now. Banned from every single club in the country.
So I'm banned from everything?
That's what I hear.
From who? Who said that?
You're banned from virtually Am I on stream? I don't want my face on stream.
Oh, okay, yeah, just put your voice.
You're virtually banned from every single hospitality group in the United States.
Like what?
Tao Group, Groot Hospitality, H-Root Group, virtually every restaurant, every venue, every nightclub. You're pretty much banned for your anti-Semitic remarks and your absolute racism and your hatred towards Jews. I thought we were friends.
We are friends. You don't want to be friends anymore?
Oh, I haven't been your friend in over a year, my man. Your anti-Semitism is blatantly disgusting. It's very, very offensive. I've hosted you thousands of times, taken care of you. I've been a true friend, and all I've ever received from you is hatred, racism, and just anti-Semitism.
When have I
So
been...
why are you his friend then? If I'm with a guy who has only treated me with hatred and racism, why would I have been his friend for years and hosted him thousands of times? It literally makes no sense.
You thousands of times, taken care of you. I've been a true friend, and all I've ever received from you is hatred, racism.
So why are you a true friend then? Does that make sense to anybody?
Received from you is hatred, racism, and just anti-Semitism.
When have I been racist or hateful towards you?
You always say smirky remarks. It's always been against Jews.
What's smirky remarks? I never talk about politics. Whenever we talk, we hang out. You bring it up. I don't talk about it.
You're an activist, but you never bring up any other world problems other than Jews. And you know what?
That's also not true. I got pushback for talking about Haiti, for talking about what's happening in America. I just spoke about what's happening in Iran. I talk about the whole world.
Yeah, only when it's trending, honestly.
Well, that's when it's relevant to talk about. And I speak about injustice.
Yeah, you only talk about big news when it's trending, because you should wait a couple weeks after the news breaks to talk about it. Then it's really legitimate. What the fuck is this guy talking about? But yeah, I mean, look, we're seeing this clip. Sneeko banned from basically everywhere in the United States now. And this is pretty crazy, because I think these red pill influencers are starting to feel the heat. Here's Andrew Tate speaking on his role in this and the fact that the song was playing in the club while he was there.
I didn't play it. I didn't ask him to play it. I didn't dance. I didn't sing. In fact, the only time you see me on there is me storming out of the bus saying this is ridiculous and leaving. But I know why it was played. It was played because of this. It was played because it gets traction in a world where everybody is bored of everything all of the time. And that's why these young people are encouraged constantly to try and do the most shocking thing possible. You see this not just with this song, you see this on all their streams. They're running people over and doing retarded shit constantly. So I'm not here to make excuses for myself. I'm not here to say it wasn't me. I'm not here to, blame someone else. But it is kind of ridiculous. It does feel a bit unfair that I'm standing in a nightclub. A song comes on that I did not request. A song comes on that I do not dance to. I do not repeat the lyrics to. I just stand there. And then they want to attribute somehow the song playing to me and it all being my fault.
Well, Andrew, your first mistake was being in the club with a bunch of 19-year-olds, because to be quite frank, I figured Tate would be above this. Don't get me wrong, not because he's, too mature for it or whatever, but I figured this was like below him to be in the club with Sneeko playing a song like this. But, I think that what we're seeing now with the red pill culture is so fascinating, because these dudes are flying too close to the sun and they're getting burned. They're learning the hard way. Whether you agree with it or not, these dudes have said a lot of shit, and they're very young. You look at a guy like Sneeko, a guy like Nick Fuentes. These guys are younger than me. They're in their early 20s. And what they've done at this point, in the name of clout, in the name of making money, in the name of shock value, is basically said every cancelable phrase in the book. But the thing is, in the world we're in today, and in the world they're in entertainment, these aren't comments that you can come back from. And I think what's happened is these guys started getting a lot of attention for saying they're Nazis and saying the N-word and just saying whatever's shocking or provocative. They figured out if they say these things, these hot button, red button issues, they're going to make a lot of money and get famous. So they're in their early 20s. They're making a lot of money. It's fast paced. They're getting fame. They have all the viewers and everything happening. And it's like an adrenaline rush. So these guys keep going and going and feeding that monster. And what happens is I think these guys get lost in the sauce. A guy like Nick Fuentes, a guy like Sneeko, they're getting lost in the sauce. And they're doing damage to their reputations that is not reversible. So let's say that 15 years from now, Nick Fuentes wants to run for president. There's no way to get out of what has already occurred. You've already said you're a Nazi. You've already said the N-word 1,000 times on camera. You've already been on camera singing to the Austrian Painter song. How do you go out of this category? Because here's the thing. Every phase of content comes to an end. So Red Pill has been a phase for the last 5 years or so. Just like other phases of content, it's going to naturally come to a close. But what these guys have done by painting themselves in this corner is they've put themselves in a spot where they actually can't do anything else. Because you can't just walk around saying you're a Nazi for 10 years and then go live a normal life, because people aren't going to allow you to do so. So I think what we're watching right now is the result of flying too close to the sun. These guys have said some things that have boxed them into a corner, and I think now they're starting to feel the repercussions. What do you guys think? I mean, I think ultimately it's kind of like a natural conclusion to this era. I don't think you can necessarily just keep going like this and get away with it and expect to have a blossoming career. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, maybe things are just going to get more and more red-pilled as time goes on. Maybe doing this shit on camera could help you win the presidency. I mean, look, 10 years ago, the shit Trump was saying would disqualify him from being president. I could be completely wrong. Maybe the world is changing. Maybe people are more accepting nowadays. But yeah, I think the whole situation with that was... And so here's the video. We're not going to play the music, but this was what they were doing. So Andrew is so full of shit. He said he didn't smile. He didn't react. Bro looks giddy like a kid on Christmas Day here in that song. Come on, Tate. Come on, Tate. Just be honest. You like the song. We all know you like the song. But this was quite the scene. By the way, imagine the people who are not perpetually on the internet who just decided to go to the club that night. Imagine if you go to the club and you're not in this world of streaming and Red Pill and you're hearing this song and Andrew Tate's in the club, Nick Fuentes is in the club. I would be so confused. But they look so happy. But honestly, man, look, what we have to think of, too, is the perspective of the club owners. This is not going to fly. If this was my nightclub, heads would be rolling. Heads would be rolling. I would be firing people like Donald Trump. Bitch, you're fired. So we got to think about it, too. Like, this is a hospitality group who many of the people who own it happen to be Jewish. Now, I'm not saying it in a negative light. It's just a fact. So if you're Jewish, you own an establishment, and this type of behavior is happening, you're goddamn right. I'm going to lose my shit. So the club actually issued a statement. They said, "We are aware of a video circulating online from one of our venues that includes content and imagery that are deeply offensive and unacceptable." Basically saying they've done an internal review and fired the people who played the song. So, look, guys, it remains to be seen what's going to happen with these dudes. Ultimately, I think you fly too close to the sun, you're going to get burned. And that's just a natural consequence in the game of life. Let's take a look at another story. We'll go to... Let me see. We got all kinds of stuff, guys. What's the chat saying? So it's a song against Jews? Look up Kanye HH. I'm not allowed to say it. I can't say it on YouTube. Guys, I've been getting in trouble lately. There's actually more. There's more audio from Sneeko.
It's about my content.
Not really, man.
Talking about Haiti, for talking about what's happening in America. I just spoke about what's happening in Iran. I talk about the whole world.
Yeah, only when it's trending, honestly.
Well, that's when it's relevant to talk about. And I speak about injustice.
not really, man. Well, let's say you do. I haven't watched your content in a very long time.
Well, so if you don't watch my content, then why do you have strong opinions about my content?
I mean, because the content I have seen is what inhaling Hitler have to do with anything?
God damn it, they're gonna get me taken off now. YouTube, please, I don't co-sign this.
Any issues in the world. I don't see how that helps you in any way, shape, or form to play that song, do a Nazi salute.
I didn't do a Nazi salute. And also, no, I didn't. They screenshotted it to make it look like that. I didn't. So I mean, my point is, it's not really about violence. It's just about one group. If it should be morally consistent. Everybody should. If I'm getting banned from all these clubs, you're saying I'm getting banned across the country for this, then everybody playing this music and singing along to violent black-on-black violence music, they should also be banned.
Well, the black community should take more
and that's one of the points, by the way, that all of these dudes have made and a lot of people have made. You can play music in the club talking about black people killing each other, and that's cool, but nothing else flies.
And ban people like that.
Well, I mean, the truth is, in America, it's like, who has an overwhelming control over the hospitality groups and about clubs, venues, Spotify? It's not black people. It's look what I'm getting blackballed from. So
I agree with that.
I know. At the same time, people will say it's anti-Semitic to insinuate Jews have overwhelming control in America, and then just like this, you're saying I'm banned.
Jews have control over very, very specific things in the United States. People say media. Jews have control over everything. We don't have control over the media. Everyone says that.
Well, the New York Post wrote about this. The New York Times, TMZ, Jerusalem Post, Times of Israel. Like, the whole media is talking about a song being played. They don't talk.
Israel, okay. Times of Israel is definitely Jewish, but all the other, a lot of media actually dislikes Jews, and
like what?
Especially the past 2-3 years. Wow, the BBC, the New York Times as well. Washington Post.
New York Times called me an anti-Semitic.
Well, that doesn't have to. What does that have to do with them?
You're saying that they hate Jews? I mean, that they're saying I'm an anti-Semite, which is not true.
It's pretty true, man.
You think I hate? You think I'm? You think
But why are you going to tell somebody they're an anti-Semite when they just told you they're not? Of all the people, by the way, in this clip, I've yet to really see Sneako say many things anti-Semitic, to be frank with you. I mean, what has Sneako exactly said that's anti-Semitic? He's criticized Israel. By the way, I promised you guys I would play a clip yesterday of my banned interview with an anti-Zionist Jew. There's 30 seconds left in this clip, then I'll play that because it actually speaks to this issue.
It's pretty true, man.
You think I hate? You think I dislike Semitic people?
I think you dislike Jewish people. I really do think you dislike Jewish people. And you can say...
But does he want him to dislike Jewish people? He just told you he doesn't. So why are you trying to say that he does? Is that what you want? This is where you start to lose me here. The guy said he's not anti-Semitic. You're like, yeah, you are. Why?
Semitic people?
I think you dislike Jewish people. I really do think you dislike Jewish people. And you can say, I dislike Israeli people. I dislike Israel. Yeah, but it seems like you dislike Jews, and you don't.
So then why we've been friends for a long time before you're saying that you don't want to be friends anymore?
I provided you a ridiculous amount of value in our friendship, and that was not.
So do you think I'm just friends with you for the? Well, I was just friends with you for the benefits.
Well, yes, pretty much.
Why would you have been friends with me if I was just in it for what you provide?
Yeah, honestly, man, it's a little bit ridiculous. It's like, because Sneako hasn't really said anti-Semitic things that I'm aware of. Now, if somebody can provide me an instance or a clip where Sneako is speaking anti-Semitic, I will completely take it back. What I'm telling you is that I have yet to see a clip myself with my own eyes of Sneako being anti-Semitic. Now, Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, all those other dudes there, openly anti-Semitic. Myron literally did a salute yesterday at his rally and said he is a, I don't want to get taken down. The N-word that pertains to this situation. He is a self-proclaimed one. So at the end of the day, yeah, they are. Those dudes are telling you they're anti-Semitic. They're not trying to hide it. Sneako is not, and we'll roll this clip too because this is exactly relevant to it. This is my banned interview with an anti-Zionist Jew speaking on the fact that Zionists conflate any criticism of Israel or Zionism or Judaism whatsoever with being anti-Semitic. And this is the root of the problem. And that's what Sneako's done. Sneako has simply called out Israel for what he believes is a genocide. Now, from where I'm sitting, that's not anti-Semitic. And this Jew agrees. Let's take a look at my clip. I promise you guys I would play this, and I went to find this. This is a real pull right here.
I'm out here as a Jew. The Zionist regime and Zionists in the diaspora have made this somehow an issue over anti-Semitism. It has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. This is an issue over the theft of Palestinian land, water, resources, and life. This is not a religious conflict. I speak today as a Jew, sure. I have to, because the Zionist regime has conflated in a profoundly anti-Semitic way Judaism, Jewishness, and Zionism, and the state of Israel.
If you could say one thing to Benjamin Netanyahu and the government there as a non-Zionist Jew, what would you tell?
As an anti-Zionist.
Anti-Zionist, what would you say?
I would say, get out. My survival as a Jewish person is inseparable from the survival of Palestinians and Palestinian liberation. Get the fuck out, you fascist!
So guys, I told you when I first dropped this clip, my audience was 100% music. I've since diversified to travel and different stuff, politics. My audience was crickets when I put this out because they did not know how to react to this. They truly did not know how to react to this. But this is great. I love seeing it because, look, we can't live in a world where criticizing a country means you hate that country. I say criticisms of all type of countries. I say criticism about Canada, USA, Haiti, whatever countries. There's no hate involved. And if we can't have an actual dialogue about a country and what they're doing, especially when they're actually bombing people and committing what people think is a genocide, I think that's a serious issue. But nonetheless, this was a fascinating experience. But I saw in the chat here too, bro, whoever's talking to Sneako just trying to discredit him when they're given the privilege to debate with him. And Cassius, you just compared how the rap genre is basically the same. So look, guys, I feel like we see what's going on here. But again, I'm just going to keep covering this story. These are stories that every single day we're getting new developments. I'm showing up every day live on stream to break these things down. So again, to all the new people, welcome here. To anybody who wants to join the movement, this is an anti-mainstream media movement, guys. This is straight to the people, from the source. This is fuck the mainstream, fuck the MSM. This ain't no ABC. This isn't CNN. This is a movement. This is the people's movement. So let's get this shit to 100,000 subs. Let's take it all the way. And they're not going to be able to take anything from me. See, when you're self-made and self-built, they're not going to take anything from you. So let's play one more clip just to wrap it up on this story.
Let's talk about what the song's all about. And first off, I want to say the title of this is I'm Sorry, and obviously I'm not sorry to anybody. It's a fucking song, and this is America. We have free speech. We're not hurting anybody. Played some music and went to the club. I'm not sorry. Get your fucking panties out of a bunch. You'll be okay.
But see, now he's going to be banned forever. Sneako, you're going to get Kanye'd, man. Like, listen, my question for Sneako is it worth it? I'm not saying you should go on and cower and apologize, but dude, you've already been banned from everywhere in the country and you're doubling down. Where does this leave you? Look, if you have the capital to be independent, if you have the money to go and open your own club or have your own concert venues or your own streaming service, whatever, because who knows where they're going to ban him from next, but is it worth it to double down in this situation? Because this dude is still young. What's he going to do in 5 years when he wants to do something, do a performance?
To the club. I'm not sorry. Get your fucking panties out of a bunch.
Thank you, Harvey. I appreciate that.
You'll be okay. You're welcome for all your hit pieces and all your videos and all your articles. You got some content. We act, they react. And at the end of the day, that song is just a song. And
Thank you, Pat.
Did innocent people die in World War II? Yeah, millions from all nations, from all over the world. A lot of people were affected by it. One, it's history, 100 years ago. Two, I'm seeing so many people who are so angry about the fact that we listened to a song. They were all quiet when
but don't downplay the Holocaust, because that's when you start losing people. Don't say it's 100 years ago. See, that's the thing. This type of language is what empowers the people trying to cancel him. It was 100 years ago. That's not the move.
100
Don't say
years
that.
ago. Two, I'm seeing so many people who are so angry about the fact that we listened to a song. They were all quiet when the genocide happened for the past 2 years. After October 7th, all these people didn't say a word. They promoted it. A lot of them took $7,000. They even had Netanyahu on their podcast. Aaron Steinberg, my friend, Steiny, maybe he's not my friend, I don't know. He tweeted trying to get Vendome to be brigaded by one-star reviews. And it's like, bro, you just had Benjamin Netanyahu on your podcast. He's literally committing a genocide. He was for the past
it wasn't even 100 years ago.
2 years. War criminal, wanted all over the world, broke international law. You had him on your show, on your podcast without any pushback. You talked about McDonald's and Burger King. Regulated? Why is social media regulated? I'm just like you. Letting him control our country from the inside out, and then you want to get like a club. You want to ruin a club.
That was the best moment, by the way. Did you guys remember that? Netanyahu, why are you regulated? Why are podcasts regulated? Who regulates podcasts? I gotta find that one. Hang on a second. That was the funniest shit. I'm like, bro, what do you mean who regulates podcasts, my guy? You're the one who got me banned off everything every time. Netanyahu podcasts censored. This shit was hilarious, bro.
Free speech yesterday, censorship today. Weeks later,
Get the fuck out of here, this AI. Every time I try to find a clip like this, by the way, it's like suppressed. Super, super weird. I can find clips easily when I don't need to show them. Here it is. This is the funniest thing ever.
You have a business right now?
Mm-hmm.
Are you regulated?
Yes.
You are? Why are you regulated? You're regulated? By what? You should have the freedom to say whatever you want, to talk whatever you want. I didn't realize there's regulation on podcasts.
Oh, yeah. He didn't realize there's freedom of speech or there's no freedom of speech, right? He's a big proponent of freedom of speech.
Club because they played a song you didn't like. That's pretty ridiculous. And I saw him delete the tweet. So I'll talk to Aaron Steinberg about that. But I just think it's ridiculous because, yes, innocent people died in World War II. But every song that you play in the club.
Harvey, it's true, by the way. I feel like they don't want me to find stuff because I remember in like 2010, 2011, I would be able to find all these conspiracy videos. I could find videos about 9/11 and all this stuff. But then after a certain point, it's like I would have to keep searching for these videos and I couldn't find them. Does anybody else find that? It's like I find things would get suppressed at certain points.
It's ridiculous because, yes, innocent people died in World War II. But every song that you play in the club, why don't you have to see any clubs apologize when they glorify killing innocent people in Chicago or in New York City? The gang violence. Every single song you hear in the club is glorifying violence. Every single song from a female rapper is about shaking ass and being a whore. Is about wet ass pussy, not cooking, not cleaning, shooting the op block, getting it back in blood, up in pole. Every song is about killing innocent black people. And on MLK Day, it's like, let's put this into context. You're mad because I listened to a song that was talking about World War II, right? Something that happened 80 years ago, almost 100 years ago. You go to the club and you turn up and listen to all the music that's glorifying violence happening right now.
This is kind of a cope, though. Let's be real. I mean, he has a point, but it's kind of a cope.
Right now. All the people that are condemning, writing articles, all of them are promoting and siding with the genocide that happens today in 4K. The most publicly televised genocide of all time. You don't see people up in arms about that. You don't see the mayor of Miami writing a think piece about that, and clubs don't have to apologize, but they have to apologize for this song. Let's talk.
So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Even for the recorded viewers, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. There's no wrong opinion, guys. Every day when I'm live, this is just for us to talk. You can think I'm wrong. You can think I'm right. I want to hear everything you have to say. But shout out to the chat tonight, man. This has been one of my favorite chats in a long, long time. Everybody in here knows what's up. And these are my people, man. That's why I'm so excited to come on every day, because this is the only place where I find my people. And we're all here and we all get it. So shout out to Robs, Blanco, Tim, Harvey, PD, Pat. Shout out to everybody. Edro, man, all you guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. Tomorrow, unless there's another breaking story, we're going to change the pace a little bit. We're going to go do a street food tour, a nightlife tour. I'm currently in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which is often called the #1 street food city on the planet. So we're going to put that to the test. I'm going to get away from my desk tomorrow night, because I don't just want to be on my desk every day when I'm streaming. We're going to do IRL. So make sure to sub up for tomorrow. Come and join me. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it, bro. So lots of interviews coming up. I have some cool guests coming on. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but there's some really, really cool streams coming. So I can't wait to bring them to you guys. Have a phenomenal night, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.